The Imperial Gangas. The rise of the Imperial Gangas is a watershed moment in Odisha's history. Ganga rule is regarded as an era of ferocious imperial wars and conquests, frenetic political activity, sound administration, and significant cultural achievements. Indeed, the Gangas as a ruling dynasty first appeared in Odishan history at the end of the 5th century CE and rose to prominence in the 11th century CE. Not only did the Gangas succeed in establishing a vast empire, but their well-organized administrative structure and unmatched architectural splendors such as the Sri Jagannath Temple in Puri and the Sun Temple in Konarka immortalized their name in the annals of medieval Odishan history. The reign of the Gangas, colloquially referred to as the Eastern Gangas, is a glorious period in medieval Odishan history. They fought a long battle for survival from 498 CE to 940 CE, and during this time period, they encountered numerous vicissitudes. This was followed by 400 years of glorious rule, between 1038 and 1435 CE. Sources of Imperial Gangas. It is exceedingly difficult to trace the Ganga dynasty's origins. However, they can be traced back to the 4th century BC as a tribe. Megasthenes, the Greek ambassador to Chandragupta Maurya's court, mentions a tribe called Gangaridai that lived on the Ganges bank. Pliny refers to their southward movement and settlement on the banks of the river Vamsadhara in the 1st century AD. The Draxaram temple inscription, the Kenduli plate, the Korni copper plate, the Nagri plate, the Kenduktana plate, the Jagannath temple inscription, the Chinna Badmu plates, the Ronki inscription, the Kachipuram inscription, the Kapilsa inscription, and the Kamarnava copper plate, Chodwar, are the Imperial Ganga's principal inscriptional sources. Among literary works, the Madala Panji, Tabkatai Nasiri, Tarikh-i-Firoj Shahi, Ramcharita, and Kalingattuprani are all significant because they shed significant light on the careers and accomplishments of the Ganga kings. The rulers of Imperial Gangas. Anantavarman Vajrahista 5. The Gangas were liberated from the clutches of the Somavamsi kings with the accession of Anantavarman Vajrahista V in 1038 CE. He used titles such as Maharaja, Maharajadiraja, Paramamaswara, Pambhataraka, and Triklingadhipti as the first independent Ganga king. His title Triklingadhipti makes it abundantly clear that he unified Utkala, Kumboda, and Kalinga. He pursued a policy of matrimonial alliances in order to bolster his empire. His marriage to Vinaya Mahadevi, a Kalchuri princess, solidified his position in southern India and compelled him to deal with the Somavamsis. He is presumed to have maintained diplomatic relations with distant neighboring countries, which added to his glory. The Devendravarman Rajrajdeva. In 1070 AD, his son Devendravarman Rajrajdeva succeeded Vajrahista 5. Rajrajdeva was determined to pursue a vigorous policy in response to pressure from the Somavamsis of Utkala and the Chalukyas of Vengi. He carried his arms all the way to Vengi, where he defeated Kullotan Jakoda alias Rajendra Choda II, who gave Rajrajdeva the hand of his daughter Raja Sundari. According to the Dirghasi inscription, Vanpati, Rajraja's Brahman minister and commander, dealt a crushing defeat to the rulers of Vengi, Utkala, Khimidi, Gidrisingi, Kosala and Chola. Rajrajdeva established stability in Ganga rule through the acquisition of neighboring territories through a zealous policy of aggrandizement. He adopted high-sounding independent titles such as Parama Maheswar, Pambhataraka, Maharaja Traja, and Triklingadhipti. He was assassinated in 1077 AD. The Anantavarman Chodgangadeva. Anantavarman Chodgangadeva was a renowned Ganga dynasty king. Due to his youth, the initial phase of his reign was critical. However, as the king matured into adulthood, he demonstrated his ability as a ruler by ruling Odisha for 70 years. Indeed, he established the Gangas dynasty in Odisha, which ruled until 1435 CE. The Kamarnava succeeded to the throne following his father's death through his wife Kasturika Mohini. His brief reign of a decade was dominated by the struggle with the Kalachuris for control of the Sambalpur-Sonepur-Bolangi tract. As with his father, he failed in his mission. During his reign, he is remembered for performing the Tulabhram ceremony, in which he weighed himself against gold that he distributed to Brahmins and his courtiers. The Raghava. In 1156 AD, following Kamarnava's demise, his younger brother Raghava ascended to the Ganga throne. Through his queen Indira Devi, he was another son of Anantavarman Chodgandadeva. Additionally, he adopted the lofty title of Anantavarma Devidasa Ranranga Raghava Chakravarti. Perhaps during his reign, Velanadu's Kulottunga Rajendra Choda II attacked Kalinga and achieved some success. Among his two inscriptions discovered inside the Lingaraja temple's Jagmohana, one describes Jayadev, a renowned Oriya poet known for his eternal creation Gita Govinda. His reign was relatively tranquil and peaceful. The Rajraja II. Rajraja II succeeded Raghava because he lacked a son and heir. Through his queen Chandralekha, he was another son of Chodgandadeva. With him, the Imperial Ganga's long-forgotten glory was resurrected. At the start of his reign, he reclaimed the Ganga's territory lost to Kamarnava and Raghava, extending from Simhachalam to Godavari. However, when Prithviswara, the Velnati Chola ruler over Kalinga, attacked and extended his sway all the way to Srikurmam, Rajraja II was forced to accept the former's supremacy and remain as a vassal king. Scholars reject Lakshman Sena's victory over Utkala, the Sena ruler of Bengal and a contemporary of Rajraja II. The great Jayadev. During Rajraja II's reign, poets flourished as well. The Anangabhimedeva II. Anangabhimedeva II, Rajraj II's brother, ascended the throne due to his lack of children. His reign was peaceful, and he oversaw the construction of numerous Savite temples. Swapniswaradeva, his brother-in-law, built the famous Megheswara temple in Bhubaneswar. He most likely constructed the Sovneswara Siva temple in Nili. He undertook massive public works such as road construction, well and tank digging, and the construction of high compound walls. He patronized men of letters and also looked out for his subjects' material and spiritual well-being. He was assassinated in 1198 CE. The Rajraja III. In 1198 CE, Anangabhimedeva II was succeeded by his son Rajraja III. During his reign, the Muslims' desire to conquer this land increased. According to Qazi Minhaj Tabqat-i Nasiri, Cyrils Muhammad Sheran and Ahmad Sheran advanced to occupy Lucknow in Bengal and Jayanagar on Bakhtiar Khilji's orders, Jajpur in Odisha. The plan came to an abrupt halt when Bakhtiar Khiljal was killed while leading the Muslim army in a campaign against Kamrupa, Assam. However, the Muslim governors of Bengal continued their attacks on Odisha during his successor's reigns. The Anangabhimedeva III. In 1211 AD, Rajraja III was succeeded by his son Anangabhimedeva III. Anangabhimedeva III ascended to power at a time when Muslim rule in Bengal posed a threat to the Ganga kingdom in Odisha's security. On the other hand, the Kalachuris were the Ganga's traditional adversary. Simultaneously, the Chola Empire was collapsing in the south. This was the case when Anangabhimedeva III ascended to the Ganga's throne. The Narsinghadeva I. The Ganga Empire reached its zenith with Narsinghadeva, I's succession to the Ganga throne in 1238 CE. Throughout his 26 years of glorious rule, he accomplished extraordinary feats in every facet of Ganga administration. His aggressive and belligerent military policy instilled fear in the Muslim rulers of Bengal and Oudh. This elevated the Imperial Gangas to new heights of strength, glory, and splendor. For the first time, he bore the title Gaspati, demonstrating his vast possession of elephants. This title was occasionally borne by later Ganga rulers and invariably by Suryavanshi kings. The magnificent creation in the field of architecture that brought Narasimhadeva was the Sun Temple at Konarka. He was popularly known in Odisha as Langula Narasimhadeva. The Bhanudeva I. Narasimhadeva was succeeded by his son Bhanudeva I. In or around 1275 CE, Uzbek, the governor of Bengal, marched as far as Jayanagar, Jajpur, and removed a few elephants. The Muslim sway is believed to have extended all the way to Jajpur. Bhanudeva was a merciful king. His gift of lands, mango orchards, and trees to the Brahmins demonstrates his support for Brahmanism. The arrival of Narahari Tirtha, the Dvaita Vedantin, and his acceptance of the images of Rama and Sita from Bhanudeva I indicates that Sitarama worship began during his reign. However, the Ganga Empire began to disintegrate during the reign of Bhanudeva I, when several feudatories such as the Matsis of Oddadi, the Chalukyas of Ilamansili, and the Pallavas of Virkutam demonstrated a defiant attitude toward Ganga suzerainty. Chandrik Devi, the daughter of Anangabhimedeva III and the wife of Paramadrideva, constructed the Anantavasudeva temple in Bhubaneswar during his reign. The Narasimhadeva II. Narasimhadeva II succeeded to the throne in 1279 CE, following the death of Bhanudeva I. As a minor, Narahari Tirtha served as his regent for a period of 12 years. Tagril Khana Uzbek, the governor of Bengal during his reign, fought Balban, the Sultan of Delhi. Thus, Narasimhadeva II reigned during a relatively peaceful era. By enhancing communication capabilities, he facilitated trade and commerce and brought prosperity to the land. As with his forefathers, he was referred to as Veera Narasimhadeva, Shri Narasimhadeva, Pratapa Veera Shri Narasimhadeva, and so forth. Additionally, he performed Tulpurusdana. He patronized Brahmanas and founded numerous Brahmana Shasnas, villages. His court was crowned with literary luminaries. Among them, Shraddha Paddhati by Sambhukara Vajpayee, Nityachara Paddhati and Karmadipika by Vidyakara, and Smriti Samuchaya by Sankhadhara were all well-known Sanskrit works at the time. He was assassinated in 1306 CE. The Bhanudeva II. The decline of the Ganga Empire began with Bhanudeva II's accession in 1323 CE after subjugating Warangal. Ulugh Khan, Muhammad Tughlaq, was raided in the Jayanagar area and 40 elephants were taken from him. This demonstrates unequivocally that Bhanudeva II was forced to deal with the Muslims. However, no part of the Ganga territory appears to have been lost during his reign. The fact remains that the Ganga's aggressive imperialism had ended. He also regarded himself as God Jagannath's deputy. The Narasimhadeva III. With the death of Bhanudeva II in 1328 AD, Narasimhadeva III ascended the throne. Taking advantage of the Musunuri Naika's weakness, the Reddis and Velimas declared themselves independent kingdoms in the coastal Andhra region. At this point, Narasimhadeva III viewed the death of Toiti Anvota Naika, who was ruling that region on behalf of Kapaya Naika, the Musunuri ruler, as a golden opportunity to extend his sway up to Srikakulam. That victory, however, was brief, as Anvota Reddy, a powerful Reddy ruler, forced the Kalingan army to retreat up to the Kalinga border crossing of the Godavari river. Thus, the Ganga Empire was gradually eroding. He was assassinated in 1352 CE. The Bhanudeva III. Bhanudeva succeeded to the Ganga throne following the death of his father Narsinghadeva III in 1352 CE. His reign witnessed a turbulent period in the Ganga's glorious rule. Ilyas Shah, the governor of Bengal during his reign, defied the authority of Firoz Shah, the Sultan of Delhi, necessitating a war between the two. Immediately preceding it, in or around 1351 CE, Ilyas had taken control of Jayanagar. Additionally, Bhanudeva III's assistance to Ilyas Shah in 1353 to 1354 CE in defeating Firoz Tughlaq, who fled to Delhi. Ilyas demonstrates that he never attacked Jayanagar. At this point, Bhanudeva III may have deemed it prudent to assist Ilyas in order to ward off any possible attack on his kingdom by the Sultan of Delhi. The Narsinghadeva IV. Narsinghadeva IV succeeded to the Ganga throne following the death of Bhanudeva III in 1378 CE. In 1386 CE, Kataya Vima, led by Kumargiri's brother-in-law, attacked South Kalinga and wreaked havoc in Cuttack. As evidenced by his adoption of the title Katka Chudakra following this invasion. Narsinghadeva IV had no choice but to seek peace by offering his daughter's hands to Kumara Anvota, Kumargiri's son. The conflict between the Reddis and Velimas in the south weakened the Reddy power, and Narsinghadeva began consolidating his hold on South Kalinga as a result. However, the Ganga's military might continued to dwindle during his reign. His initiative resulted in the development of the Oriya language and grammar. He was a patron of scholars, Brahmins, and men of letters. The Bhanudeva IV. Bhanudeva IV, the final Ganga king, ascended the throne following Narsinghadeva IV's death in 1414. As the Reddy Empire was already in decline, Bhanudeva IV attacked the Reddy territory in collaboration with Deva Raya I, the king of Vijayanagara. A Lada Reddy of Rajmundry was forced to negotiate peace with both the kings of Utkala and Vijayanagara. The Chandrakala Natika of a great Oriya poet, Viswanath Kaviraj, attributes the conquest of Gauda to Bhanudeva IV, Bengal. He marched towards Bengal in order to liberate the Hindus from Jalaluddin Muhammad Shah's control. He assumed titles such as Shri Veera Bhanudeva, Gaspati Pratapa Veera Shri Nisanka Bhanudeva, and others. He was the dynasty's final ruler. While he was engaged in his southern campaign against the Reddis, his trusted minister, Kapileswara Rotraya, betrayed him and usurped the throne with the assistance of the Brahmins. Thus, the Ganga dynasty came to an end, bringing an end to the Ganga's glorious reign. The Ganga Administration. The Gangas established a well-organized administrative system in order to stabilize and consolidate their vast empire. Chodaganga, as a stranger in this strange land, may very well understand his obligation to the Odisha people. The Gangas devoted themselves to their subjects' material prosperity through a variety of humanitarian and welfare projects. As a result, they gained popularity among his Odishan subjects. The Gangas ruled a vast kingdom that stretched from the Ganges to the Godavari. The Ganga's unbroken rule of 400 years provided an excellent opportunity for them to administer the Ganga dynasty's subjects well. The kingship concept. They possessed a superior understanding of kingship. They desired to carry out Kautilya's concept of providing yogakshema to their subjects. They sought to establish the principle that the king must be wise, ideal, efficient, and capable of enforcing justice and promoting the common good. As evidenced by the Ganga rules records, kings such as Vajrahasta I, Anantavarman Chodgangdeva, Anankabir Nedewalal, Narsinghadeva I, and Bhanudeva I were wise, benevolent, and accomplished rulers. They were all well versed in religious and statecraft canons. The Ganga kings adopted lofty titles such as Maharajadiraja, Parma Maheswar, Pambhataraka, Triklingadipti, Parmavasnava, Chakravarti, and Gaspati, among others. They ruled the country in accordance with the Niti and Smriti texts' principles. They looked after their subjects' material prosperity and spiritual well-being. Without a doubt, the king's objective was to satisfy their subjects' desires. Ministerial Council. Though the king was the supreme head of state, he exercised his authority in consultation with the Council of Ministers during the Ganga period. Numerous officials assisted the Ganga kings, including Mantri, Purohita, Yuvraja, Sandivigrahika, Senapati, and Dawarika. Ministers were generally referred to as Patrasamanthas. Mahapatra was given to the revenue minister. Sandivigrahika was the minister in charge of war, peace, and foreign affairs. The empire's division. The Gangas divided the empire into a number of Mahamandalas for administrative purposes, greater provinces. Mahamandalika was the title given to the administrator of a Mahamandala, governor-in-chief. A Mahamandala was subdivided into mandalas, provinces. Each mandala was overseen by a Mandalika, governor. Additionally, a mandala was composed of Vishayas or Bhogas, districts. A Vishyapti or Bhogika was in charge of a Vishaya or Bhoga. A Vishaya or Bhoga was composed of a specified number of gramas, villages. Each village was administered by a Gramika. Armed force. With the assistance of a powerful army, the Ganga emperors maintained their rule over a vast territory. The Ganga kings were themselves formidable warriors. The Ganga inscription mentions the following designations for their army commanders: Sakta Batapti, Supreme Commander of Armed Forces, Senadhyaksa, Commander-in-Chief, Senapati, Dalpati, and Vahinipti. Army recruits may come from any of the four Varnas: Brahmana, Kshatri, Vaishya, or Shudra. Three wings comprised the army: elephantry, cavalry, and infantry. Elephants were particularly effective at striking fear into the hearts of adversaries. Soldiers used a variety of weapons during the wars, including swords, daggers, shields, spears, maces, and bows. Taxes and revenue from land. The revenue system was sound during the Ganga period. According to the Ganga inscriptions, a variety of taxes were collected, including Bheta, Voda, Paika, Ohar, and Paridarsana. Land revenue was the Ganga government's primary source of revenue. 1/6 of the land's production was collected as land revenue. According to the land settlement, Anangabhimedeva, one of the Ganga dynasty, ruled over 9 crores 49 lakhs 60,000 acres of arable land in Odisha during his reign. Of this total cultivable land, 4 crores 63 lakhs acres were donated tax-free to temples, Brahmanas, royal servants, and others. The Ganga rulers made land donations, retaining all proprietary rights. The Ganga monarchs collected taxes on 4 crores 86 lakhs acres of unclaimed land. Apart from land revenue, the state received revenue from duties on exports, imports, and forest products, as well as fines, court fees, and salt tax. Cultural significance of the Ganga rule. Odisha's cultural renaissance during the Ganga period was unquestionably the result of capable leadership, political stability, robust administration, and economic prosperity. During the Ganga period, art, architecture, and sculpture developed. Additionally, the Ganga rulers were great promoters of learning and literature. Their court was graced by a number of notable literary figures. The society was peaceful because the kings of the Ganga dynasty were benevolent in nature. To appreciate the cultural significance of the Ganga dynasty, it is necessary to understand the society and circumstances of the Ganga period, including religion, art and architecture, music and dance, language and literature, and trade and commerce. Traditional Varna system. The traditional Varna system, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, prevailed during the Ganga period. During this period, the Brahmanas held the highest status and most privileges in society. As scholars and priests, many of them benefited from land grants, agraharas. During this time period, it is discovered that a number of Brahmanas pursued non-religious careers such as military service, other types of government service, and commerce. The evolution of the Karanas, or Kayasthas, caste. The Ganga period records mention the Karanas, Kayasthas, as a significant caste that developed during this time period. They were a bloodline of writers. Their status in Varna is unknown based on the available records. According to some sources, they were Kshatriyas. According to others, they were Shudras. Whatever their Varna status, they held positions in government ranging from village headman and accountant to prime minister and army general. Women's position during the Ganga period. During the Ganga period, women were held in high regard in society, particularly royal women. Numerous donor records include the donors' mothers' names. Royal ladies were renowned for their piety and devotion to their husbands. The royal ladies appear to have had access to education and specialized forms of art such as music and dance. Chandrik Devi, Anangabhimedeva III's daughter, was a gifted musician and dancer. She constructed the Ananta Vasudeva temple in Bhubaneswar. Shivrani, a lady descended from the Ganges, was dubbed the Kalyuga Saraswati, goddess of learning in Kali age. However, women's status appears to have deteriorated somewhat during this time period. Their liberty is restricted by the Smritis and Nitisastras of the time. Women were expected to be devoutly married. However, the Ganga kings were polygamous. Additionally, the Smritis permitted rulers to engage in polygamy. In practice, it appears as though women had a great deal of autonomy. Additionally, they performed as devdasis in temples. Women are frequently depicted as singers and dancers, erotic partners, and seductive naikas, all of which emphasize their independence. Religion in the Ganges era. The early rulers of the Ganga were devout Saivites. However, following their conquest of Odisha, the Gangas converted to Vaishnavism. They devoted themselves to Purushottam Jagannath, who was considered to be a manifestation of Vishnu. Chodgangdeva constructed the current colossal temple dedicated to Lord Jagannath. Anangabhimedeva III declared that he ruled the empire as Lord Jagannath's Rota or deputy. Puri became a major center of Vaishnavism during the Ganga period, with Lord Jagannath as the presiding deity. During this period, great bhakti saints such as Ramanuj, Narhari Tirtha, and Jagannath Tirtha came to Odisha from other states. The recital of Jayadev's Gita Govinda, a Vaishnav poet of this era, was incorporated into the Jagannath temple's daily rituals. The Ganga rulers' secular nature. The Ganga rulers were by nature secular. Despite their devotion to Lord Jagannath, the state deity, the Gangas encouraged the worship of other deities, including Shiva, Parvati, and the sun god. Chodgangdeva donated a village to support the maintenance of a perpetual lamp in Bhubaneswar's Lingaraj temple. During the Ganga rule, the Parvati temple was constructed within the precinct of the Lingaraj temple. Narsimhadevai constructed the sun god temple in Konark. The Ganga rulers appear to have sought to reconcile Shaivism and Vaishnavism. The transformation of Shiva in the Lingaraj temple into Harihar, Vishnu and Shiva, and the construction of the Ananta Vasudeva Vishnu temple by a Ganga princess named Chandrika Devi in the midst of the Shiva temples, Both indicate attempts at this synthesis of Harihara cult. Art and architecture during the Ganga period. Odisha's art and architecture reached their pinnacle of glory during the continuous and strenuous construction activities of the great Ganga monarchs such as Chodkankdeva, Anangabhimedeva III, and Narsinghadeva I. The Gangas constructed two unmatched and magnificent monuments, Puri's Jagannath Temple and Konark's Sun Temple. These two temples are remarkable for their massive structure, architectural skill, exquisite ornamentation, and exquisite images of animals, gods, goddesses, mythological episodes, and erotic partners. Music and dance during the Ganga's reign. The Ganga kings were ardent supporters of music and dance. The temple's Netamandapas were places where the Devdasis performed dances to the accompaniment of compositions and musical instruments. Netamandapas are found in the Jagannath Temple in Puri and the Sun Temple in Konark, both of which were built by the Gangas. Natmandapa was added to the temple of Lingaraj in Bhubaneswar by Anangabhimedeva III. The Ganga kings employed damsels to sing and dance in the temples. According to tradition, Padmavati, the poet Jayadev's wife, was a Devdasi dedicated to Lord Jagannath. She used to dance to the beat of her husband's songs. The Ganga temples, particularly the Netamandapas, are teeming with singing and dancing girls in ecstatic poses, accompanied by musical instruments concealed within the panels. Patron of Education. The Ganga monarchs, being learned and cultured themselves, extended their patronage to the advancement of learning. They granted land to learned Brahmins, temples, and mathematicians, monasteries. Temples and maths were both centers of religious culture and education. Copper plate grants and stone inscriptions document the zenith of Odisha's Sanskrit literature during the Ganga era. Odisha was home to a number of intellectual luminaries during this era. The Ganga period is represented by Pandit Vidyadhar, Ekavali, Jayadev, Gita Govinda, Sridhar Acharya and Nilambar Acharya, Smriti writers, Viswanath Kaviraj, Sahitya Darpan, and Satyananda, the astronomer who wrote Surya Siddhanta. Overseas trade. Odisha's economic prosperity enabled the development of cultural activities during the Ganga period. Odisha maintained her ancient commercial ties with Southeast Asian countries during this time period. The engraving of boats in the Bhogamandapa of Puri's Jagannath Temple, a panel depicting elephant transportation, preserved in the Odisha State Museum, and the reference to a township inhabited by artisans and traders in Anangabhimedeva I's Nagari plate, are all evidence of Odisha's international trade and commerce during the Ganga period. Odisha exported clothing, diamonds, and elephants to other countries. So, this is the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. To get the note of this video, scan the above QR code or check description to get the link. Thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day.